Stop. Stop, I say. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GTHub podcast. We are back after a slight delay from our normally scheduled program, but yeah, technical difficulties and whatnot. But yeah, we're here again, so we have a bit of a packed show for you today with the F1 from Brazil and Mexico, briefly. The IMSA SportsCar Encore from Sebring, and of course the always incredible to watch Super GT, which crowned its champions. So, and a bit more news at the end. But usual cast of characters today with Pigeon.
Hello.
And the usual guest in Rob.
Hi.
Yes, and with the cast of characters introduced, we will now delve into the F1 race, which is the Brazilian Grand Prix. And, well, it was pretty enjoyable, but then again, when is it not?
True.
Ooh.
I take the ooh was because you hadn't seen it.
The Brazilian Grand Prix, I did catch what had happened on Twitter, but when the highlights were on, I was actually partway through writing an essay because university. So I have a rough idea what happened in Interlagos.
Well, I mean, you haven't missed much except, well, someone throwing a fit at the end of the race and throwing away a race. But yeah. Before we get into that, though, there is obviously the mentioning of what happened in Mexico the week prior, or was it week prior? Or 2 weeks prior?
2 weeks.
2 and a bit, yeah. Which was that Lewis Hamilton became a 5-time world champion at Mexico City, which is pretty much how the championship shakes out now. He either wins in COTA or he wins in Mexico.
Yeah.
But he clinches it either way. And yeah, so he's a 5-time world champion who matches Juan Manuel Fangio and Michael Schumacher. And Mercedes sadly had to wait until this past weekend to clinch the manufacturer's crown, which was also not in doubt.
I mean, feels bad, man, that they had to wait a week to.
I know, it's annoying. They couldn't have it perfectly aligned with everything. But Ferrari had to spoil their days.
Yeah.
Stupid Italians. What are they doing? They mess everything up.
Messing up the crowning achievement.
Yes. The symmetry was lacking.
Yes, seriously lacking. Terrible. That's so inconsiderate of them to even think about doing that. Let's see here. So the race started with Lewis Hamilton on pole again, which is a given, really. Considering it's a Mercedes track, and the Red Bulls were doing well there because they always do well at Interlagos. And, well, Max Verstappen was pretty much the story of the day because the Red Bull had the pace and it was good on its tires. But, unfortunately, this being Max Verstappen, he forgot how to drive, pretty much, is a polite way of saying that.
That's your way of saying it.
Yes, my way of saying it.
Max doing Max things. And things his dad's
doing Max things, but it's quite important to point out he doesn't know proper racecraft, especially considering he was a butt of a joke in the Super GT commentary the night before.
Yes.
But for those that hadn't seen it, he basically was leading handily over Lewis Hamilton because he had just came out of the pits and was on the perfect pit strategy, and was lapping Esteban Ocon.
Nope.
Was he?
Ocon was unlapping himself.
Yeah,
That's what it
Ocon was trying to unlap himself.
shown. Yeah.
See,
Either way,
because
it was
Ocon
a
was
slow
on
car.
Ocon was on the super softs, and he was absolutely flying. He was
And had DRS, I think.
Yeah, he had DRS on Verstappen.
Yeah.
He had the DRS and was trying to unlap himself.
He had the pass flaps open.
Well, yes.
It's quite Radio Le Mans.
He had that, and he was trying to unlap himself. They ran into each other, and they both spun out, basically. That's what happened. And instead of kind of moving on with it, kind of carrying it around for the rest of the day. So he just decided to, at the end of the race, in what was clearly one that he should have won, and was a Red Bull win, decided to have a bit of a shoving match at the weigh station at the end of the race, with Esteban Ocon, to which he has earned, what was it? Community service?
Yeah, 2 days.
Whatever that's supposed to mean.
I mean, if he wants to, he can come round to my parents' house and kind of tidy up my bedroom. Actually, no, that would only take about...
service.
That counts as Rob service.
Oh, yeah. I mean, taking care of Rob, I guess, is community service.
Oh, no.
Someone has to do it, yeah. Well, he copped a penalty of 2 days of service for whatever.
For not conducting himself in an orderly and gentlemanly fashion.
Basically, yes.
I mean, he's Dutch. What do you expect?
Well.
That's a good point.
He's also
technically he's Belgian.
Well, I was going to say, the key bit is he's a Verstappen, but there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And we all know who the last driver to take out the race leader at Interlagos was after an incident involving a lapped car.
Who would that be?
It would be
His
Jos
dad.
Verstappen. His dad. Driving an Arrows in 2001 and promptly went straight into the back of Montoya into the braking zone for turn 4.
Okay. Well, good guess. So it was Hamilton winning, and Verstappen in second, and Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari making up the final podium spot. Fourth was Daniel Ricciardo, and the other Red Bull. Fifth was Valtteri Bottas. Sixth was Sebastian Vettel, way off the pace, almost 27 seconds back. Seventh was surprisingly Charles Leclerc in the Sauber. Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Ah, there you are. Okay. Everyone went quiet for a second. Got kind of a little concerned. It was basically Red Bull 2 and 4, Ferrari 3 and 6, and Mercedes 1 and 5. Seventh was Charles Leclerc in the Sauber, so another good run for him. And eighth and ninth were the two Haas's, finally scoring some points after an abysmal run of luck as of late. And Sergio Perez got a final point for Force India in 10th. And barely missing out was the sole Renault of Sainz Jr. Yeah. On the Haas front, actually, they also had bad news in the fact that their appeal was heard and denied, so they don't get their points back from Monza.
I mean, is that really a surprise, though?
No. It is quite convenient, though, that the Renault got to keep its position now.
Stop being salty, Forza.
I just find the whole thing a bit funny. That's they were losing by 8 points, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, their floor is illegal. Let's protest them." And then now they're 30 points ahead comfortably. So yeah, not salty in the slightest. Just saying.
They seem salty. I'm hating.
God, now he's singing.
Oh dear.
Well, it had to happen, didn't it?
I guess.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, it's not show tunes, though.
Please, no. Anyway, moving past the F1, which was kind of anticlimactic other than some rage issues, but Mercedes, as mentioned, clinched the Constructors' title, so do they match or do they beat Ferrari's best in the Schumacher era?
Match.
They match it. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they beat it.
For
Oh wait, no, they need 2 more titles to do that.
Yeah.
So even still, though, that's quite a run of form considering they hadn't won a title since 1950 something. So
yeah. Since Fangio.
Well, there you go. Yeah, whenever Fangio last won the title. But 5 in a row is really good for them.
And it's not just the fact that it's 5 in a row; it's just the sheer dominance that they've had, especially from 2014 to 2016.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only thing they haven't done from that in form of dominance is actually the perfect season. But yeah.
Ooh.
Actually,
yeah.
when was the last perfect season? It was
never.
Yeah, no one's ever done one.
McLaren came close.
McLaren came close. That's what
in 1988, and then thanks to the efforts of Jean-Louis Schlesser and the Williams taking out Ayrton Senna at Monza, which meant that McLaren didn't win all races that season, and Ferrari got a highly emotional victory, and I think it might have been a 1-2 as well, a couple of weeks after Enzo Ferrari's passing.
Oh, so bit of news and information there. So yeah, good on you for that one.
Nice to know I have a use and a purpose in life.
Random F1 knowledge brought to you by Rob.
Brought to you by the person who may have actually been doing a quiz earlier. Yes.
For me. Now we move into cars, which is actually more entertaining, really, as far as I'm concerned, because it was the first, and certainly not the last, Michelin SportsCar Encore at Sebring.
Yay!
Woo! Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. Very long title, but was fitting for a 4-hour race, really.
Very long title and a very shortened, well, actually non-existent bridge going over part of the track. As they attempt to get it ready for the arrival of the World Endurance Championship.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yes, the 1,000 miles of Sebring, because 1,500 miles was just a little teeny weeny bit too close to, 12 hours.
12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Kay Van Berlo.
1,500 miles was exactly 12 hours, by the way, in case you were wondering. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Am I right in thinking that Kay Van Berlo was on pole in the Ligier, the world's fastest bronze-graded driver?
Kay Van Berlo was indeed on pole in the K2R Ligier.
Yes.
Which is a dry run for of Matt Bell and Jim Maguire, who are going to be running in the Asian Le Mans Series season. For who is it? United Autosports. That's who.
Although it wouldn't surprise me if he was not a bronze-graded driver very, very soon. But then again, he's straight out of go-karts.
Van Berlin had an LMP2 title, or LMP2 run next season as well. So
yeah,
there's that.
He's very quick, in other words.
Yes, he's extremely quick.
Yes, he should have a good career ahead of him.
Hopefully, that is the plan.
Yes.
The on pole was the aforementioned number 26 K2R Ligier of Kay Van Berlo and Matt Bell and Jim Maguire. And they were the dominant car pretty much through the first half of the race. So for the first 2 hours of the race, they were pretty much unstoppable. I was going to say non-stoppable, but English.
What is that?
Really. Only being matched by the Ansa Motorsports Ligier of Roman DeAngelis and Kyle Kirkwood, who is another person you should keep an eye on, because he won 15 out of the 17
bloody hell
F4 races in America this year.
Crikey.
So yeah.
So I'd say 2021, 2022 will probably be in the Indy 500 then.
Or sports cars, either one. He did, oddly enough, only get this drive courtesy of his performance in F4, thanks to Onroad, because they're the ones who build the cars. So
yeah,
he got this drive.
And DeAngelis isn't exactly what you call slow either, if he's
he's
a Porsche or anything to go by.
He's a Porsche GT3 Cup Canada champion, Roman DeAngelis. So, I believe so.
You said Canada, so I said A.
Oh, damn it, Rob!
Stop making jokes.
At least make them. God. Anyway, yeah, that's how that worked out. On pole in GT4 was, I believe, the Roush Mustangs. I think it was Nancy on there. And it was the number 82 of Mark Motors, who was on pole in the TCR class, I believe. But the race was dominant, as I was mentioned, by the 26 for the first 2 hours. But in the number 13 with Roman DeAngelis and Kyle Kirkwood, they assumed the rest of the race lead. And with the last caution coming out for the stricken number 25 of, who was at the wheel? Kenton Cook. It brought out a caution with 39 minutes to go. And on the restart, the 13 took the lead. And that was all she wrote for the race there. So the LMP3 winners were the number 13 of DeAngelis and Kyle Kirkwood. Second was the number 26 pairing, or triple driver pairing of Kay Van Berlo, Matt Bell, and Jim Maguire. And in third place was, ironically enough, a IMSA driver who doesn't need any introduction, that being Catherine Legg, making her LMP3 debut. And returning to prototypes, actually, for the first time since driving the Delta Wing.
Oh,
actually, no. Was it the Delta Wing, or was it... No, it was the Delta Wing, I think. It was the last one she drove, I think.
Was it? Because I know she drove the Delta Wing.
Delta Wing was the year before she was racing with Schenck.
Because I think she went from Delta Wing to Acura.
That I don't know. So that was actually the number 40 Polestar Motor Racing Leger for herself, Keith Grant, and David Grant. And they led for a while as well in the race. It was also a return for her to that team because they were the ones who gave her the start in North America, actually. Because they were her first team in America in Formula Atlantics. So, yeah, ended up coming home and they got a podium. So, not a bad result for them.
All good.
GT4 was also kind of close. It was a runaway win for the Mustangs of Roush Performance and Core Motorsport. That being the number 60 of Nate Stacey and Kyle Marcelli and Dean Martin in their Ford Mustang GT4 in its nice silvery chrome livery. Plane, I think. And second was the number 22 G Racing Audi R8 LMS GT4 of James DeFurnace, Jason Bell, and very, very last minute addition of Andy Lally at the wheel of that.
There are worse last minute additions, though, in fairness.
True.
Well, that's true, yeah. He was also a very last minute addition to the MX5 challenge field as well. Which was at the podium. GT4 was the second Roush Mustang for Kenny Wilden, Rod Randall, and DJ Randall. Had a pretty good day there. I think Kyle Marcelli actually did a double there at Sebring because he won in March. At the what is now known as the Michelin Pilot Challenge race there.
We can still call it Conti Series, though, can't we? Because it was still, at the time, the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? It doesn't seem right when, this was the Michelin Encore, but yeah. And, of course, TCR results was only a 3-car affair, so all 3 cars in that class were on the podium. Being the number 82 of Arc Motors Racing, Audi RS3 LMS PCR for Remo Rossetti and Marco Cerrone. The 54 JDC Miller Motorsports Audi of Steven Simpson, Michael Johnson. And the number 31 Golf GTI TCR of Luke Rumberg and Tanner Rumberg. So that was the Rumcastle. That's the double. That was the rundown of that race, and there's actually some good news to come out of, very, very good news to come out of the series for the weekend, and that would be that there is going to be another running of the Michelin Encore next season.
Yay!
Good.
At Sebring, so that should be interesting. Hopefully, there'll be GT3 cars, because that would probably actually add some more spice to the field.
Funny you say that. I think there were manufacturers interested in entering GT3 cars, but they wanted to run the as yet still unhomologated.
Yeah,
Evo
they wanted to run
new
the
cars.
Evo new one.
Yeah.
But,
and
I'm
IMSA
quite
said,
happy with that.
no, thank you. Can you please not do this? This would be awfully kind of you. Thank you.
If you could just not do the things we haven't homologated yet. Yeah.
Although then again, the Michelin IMSA Encore, because some people have said, wouldn't it be cool if all the GTLM manufacturers and Aston Martin got together and de-restricted the cars? That could be the ideal place, I think.
I didn't quite make out what you said.
Oh god, yeah. So what I was thinking is, because I've heard people say, I've seen a few comments online, I think, that people were saying, that would be like a cool place for for the GTLM manufacturers and possibly even Aston Martin as well to take their GTE, GTLM cars, de-restrict them, just have a
see, that's a
no
very
holds
good
barred,
idea, yeah.
no holds barred, no bullshit race. Just how it used to be in the good old days, in other words.
Yeah. See, that's actually a really good idea. Not quite sure the amateur teams would like being overshadowed again, but yeah.
Being overshadowed by a very, very large manufacturer program.
Very, very large manufacturer programs, yeah.
Yeah, multiple programs. And if it means that a few WEC... Actually, no, that wouldn't work, given that it would probably be clashing with the WEC round. Never mind.
Yes, there you go.
Never mind, forget I said anything. Forget I ever said
they-
anything. Just like my life.
Oh gosh. You done? Are you done now?
Yes.
Bit too sad, Rob. Gotta keep it light. Come on.
It's self-depreciation. Come on, it's how we survive in the UK, especially given stuff.
Oh god, I'm gonna give you the hook to pull you off stage in a second. Some news of actual prototypes for the weekend was that the Atlantic Racing team has returned to IMSA for the first time since 1999. I believe was the last time they were racing there. They were most recently racing in the Asian Le Mans series with their A-03. They were the lone non-Ligier in the field this weekend, but they were using this weekend as a trial run for a full 2019 run in the IMSA Prototype Challenge, and they will have full support from the ADES team. So that's good news for them. So that means there'll actually be Normas, Ligiers, and an ADES in IMSA next season.
Oh my god, I am shook. The ADES actually exists still.
Well, funny you say that. The ADES actually exists as a rolling chassis for the as the basis of the Green GT hydrogen prototype thing. So yeah.
What? Because no one wanted to buy the LMP3 car.
Well, there's a couple running around. There's some in VDV. There's one in Asian Le Mans, I think. Well, yeah, because it was the Atlantic Racing team. So, as I mentioned, so they have their ADES there. But yeah, the CEO of that organization was out on track. Not on track, rather, but at the track, because I can speak.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so it's important for them. But staying with the note of Challenge Series news in IMSA, a major announcement was that Brian Herta Autosport will be bringing its Hyundai TCR program into the IMSA fold.
Yes.
Also with a new car as well, because the i30N TCR is no longer for Brian Herta Autosport, and they will introduce the new Veloster N TCRs into IMSA competition. So they'll have need to build those. However, that doesn't mean that the i30s are going away. It just means there's going to be two models from Hyundai. The Veloster N running in markets where they don't run the i30, and I suppose you could still buy the i30 and run it in America, just depends what you want to run. But it's basically the same car underneath, because it uses the same 2-liter 350 horsepower engine and everything else. It's just like the body panels are different, pretty much. It's the same car. No drivers have been announced for that, but Brian Herta Autosports are also the official North American agents for sales and support of both cars. And staying on the TCR front, there will be 2 Civic Type Rs next season in the Michelin Pilot Challenge as well. So there's going to be a full gamut of variety next season, as opposed to this season where it was just an Audi benefit.
With Volkswagen thrown in for good measure, so it was a VAG party.
Party, yeah.
Sesh.
Motorsports will be running the Hondas, so they have a program already lined up to replace their Minis. And they'll run under the LA Honda World Racing banner. So yet another new team, technically, to be running there. And one last bit of news is that Park Place Motorsports will be expanding into Michelin Pilot Challenge. With a brand new 2019 Porsche Cayman GT4 car. That being for Alan Brynjolfsson and Trent Hindman, also known as the Volt Racing duo, who were fielding the bright yellow Mustangs most recently. But they will carry over to Park Place, as well as will Mike Johnson, who was their team manager, to be overseeing that team, and he will also be the director of operations for them. And it will be known as Park Place Motorsports with Volt Lighting. So, yeah, that's where they're going. So their Mustang's up for sale as well, and
I'll have it.
I'm sure it will cost you a pretty penny because it's got race win pedigree behind it.
Yeah. So. Get GTHub to buy it for me.
Nah, I think Forza's a good ticket first.
Oh, it's Mikhail. Hello, Mikhail.
Hi, Mikhail.
Hey, what's up? I'm in an Uber right now.
Oh dear.
What's the Rob?
Hey,
why are you passing around everything, Rob? Honestly, you gave Pigeon your technical problems. Now he's being the traveling correspondent all of a sudden.
Hey, look. At least I wasn't in the bush, okay?
That's true.
Could have been worse.
Giggity.
Actually, right now I'm actually going to the Hoonigan donut donut garage right now. So yeah, you know the Hoonigan, right?
Do they do glazed varieties there?
Bruh, I don't know, but I might just be live where you guys talking about random.
Well, we were just going to segue into Super GT, but okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going with your Super GT. I'll probably just sit on my stuff.
Oh well, okay. What was I? All right. Actually, some news for 2020 actually, to break before the start of qualifying at the season finale round of Super GT, and that was that they will be returning to Sepang.
Woo! Yay!
And not just going back to Sepang, it'll be a night race at Sepang for a 3-year deal.
Yes, yay! Please. Even better, I won't have to get up at like 4 in the bloody morning to watch it. I can actually sleep in for a few hours, or just sleep. In my case.
Oh, dear. That race will take the place of what is currently being run in Thailand. That contract runs through 2019. Oh, that's right. They ran there. I didn't know that. They will be running Super GT at Sepang, and it will replace the Fuji GT 500-mile race in 2020. Because Fuji Speedway will be unavailable at that time, because it'll be a cycling venue for the 2020 games in Tokyo.
Yes, I had forgotten that they were going to be... God, what is it with Olympics and using racer? Brands Hatch 2012, the entire Olympic Park was built on what was the Hakarapagua circuit in Rio.
Lots of space, I guess. I don't know. Watching Brands Hatch cycling, though, was amazing.
I'll tell you what, I'm just glad they were cycling down the hill at Pilgrim's Drop and not up it, although then again, the climb up to Druids would have made up for that quite nicely, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if they ran it the regular way, it would have been interesting to see them fall down. Although I'm not sure hand cycles would work in that environment. Although, yeah, I guess it's got 3 wheels, so it might actually work better than a bicycle.
Actually, would I think as well?
It's got more grip.
More grip.
That is what I said. Yes. Oh dear. Well, you didn't see the Super GT. I don't think either one of you did, actually.
I didn't see it live. I watched the highlights.
You did something Rob didn't, so...
I just did sleeping and being a uni student.
Why would you be sleeping?
Because it was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
God. Oh,
Ow. Super GT works well for us on the West Coast, but not necessarily for those in Europe. Yeah.
That's why I'm looking forward to the race in Sepang. I can actually get a decent night's sleep before getting up at silly o'clock.
I don't think it's the like. I think it's the same thing. It's still in Asia. We still had to deal with it.
Well, yeah, but it's because it's
It'd
at
be a
night.
night race.
Falls in
Because it's a night race.
Night race, yeah, I can understand
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about the qualifying yet?
No, we haven't talked about anything Super GT related yet until now.
Oh, cool.
So if you want to jump in, go ahead.
Well, to start out, we all before we even have the qualifying, we all predicted this. Kind of Arta BMW kind of thing. And all that stuff.
Here we go.
Oh dear.
And
here we go.
Yeah, you think that it was gonna at least qualify decently, but you'll tell the results.
I actually don't know qualifying because I didn't see it. So,
but let's talk about the qualifying for. You guys could talk about the qualifying for GT500 and GT300 because right now I'm in a shop and I don't want to interrupt anyone.
It's nearly as mad as the time I actually came to the internet live from the pub.
Oh no, that was worse.
And with half a pint of ale, I believe.
Anyway,
this is a totally professional podcast.
Professionalism? What is
it
that?
was working perfectly fine. The number 8 Arta NSX took pole in their bid to steal the title away. It's a new track record, actually, in the Q2 run, which was the third pole of the season for that car with a 135.550. So it beats the old track record, which was held by Ronnie Quintarelli, by 0.7 of a second. And Honda locked out a 123. So for GT500. Which pretty much was the story of 2018 throughout, really. Honda's being really fast over qualifying and pretty much dominant in race form if they were at the front. It also meant that they took the crucial 1 point for their championship efforts. So that stole away of any points from the number 100 and the number 1 Keeper Tom's Lexus, who was doing their best to defend their title, because coming into the weekend, the 100 Raybrig NSX and the Keeper Tom's Lexus were tied exactly on 67 points apiece. So basically, the championship scenario was very clear from the onset. Whichever car finished ahead of each other, that was the car that would win the title. So that was very point blank, just that was what needed to happen. There was not really a scenario in which points played a factor, which just kind of beat each other, really.
Yeah.
Which is nice, to make it nice and simple. Yeah. In GT,
easy for the viewer.
Well, Super GT, it's very easy to follow. There's only 2 classes.
2 classes and complete and utter batshit insanity.
Well, true as well.
On the track, that is.
The 100, which was the main championship contender leading the points, they qualified second. And in third was another Honda, as mentioned. However, the main championship contender that was challenging them was the number 1, as mentioned. They qualified in 6th, and they had a bit of work to do to catch up. And the only other contenders for the championship were the 36 AU Toms Lexus of Kazuki Nakajima and Yuhei Sakaguchi. But no Nissans were in the title battle. So another shutout for them, unfortunately. But 2018 was just not their season at all, really. So it's the story of that coming and playing out in one race. GT300, however, was the GT300 party was being spoiled by the Lamborghini, Kazuki Hiramine and Marco Mappelli, who also got a new track record in Q2 with a 145.911, which was his first pole position for Hiramine in the number 88 Manipa Lamborghini Huracan. And the second was the championship contending number 65 Mercedes for Haruki Kurosawa and Naoya Gamu. And another championship contending car in the number 0 Good Smile Hatsune Miku AMG of Nobutere Taniguchi and Tatsuya Karaoka. So,
Miku. Repeat for the entirety of the race, and you have a description of the YouTube chat, probably.
Hey.
Yeah, basically.
I can neither confirm nor deny that is true.
And just by saying the word Miku, you summon Mikhail.
I mean, I just got out of the shop, and then I was gonna go. Oh, I'd be back, and now I'm just walking around the garage of Hoonigan. Pretty interesting, and I like it.
Meanwhile, back in Super GT land.
Professionalism.
Wait, what does that word mean again?
Nothing.
The opposite of GTHub.
Yep.
You realise that if on the incredibly slim chance that I actually end up on TV on University Challenge, I would probably be taking my GTHub t-shirt.
Oh, you better.
You better, yeah. At least one thing you can do is actually represent GTHub. You
Anyways,
might not win, but,
on topic. Jesus.
What was the topic?
Yeah, what was
GT? Oh my god, you knob.
Taniguchi-san.
The 0 was third, so it was up in front to try and steal a title. The other title contending cars were the number 31 Toyota Prius of Koki Saga and Kohei Hirate, who were 8th.
Which is, by the way, their final race of the season. Actually, in general.
Well, final race for that Prius, but not forever.
Prius next year.
We'll see.
No.
And the championship leading number 55 Arta BMW of Shinichi Takagi and Sean Walkinshaw was 10th. So they were crucially still in the points, but they were just at the back of the championship contenders. Crucially, though, they came into the race with a 12-point gap coming in. So they had a bit of a buffer, but it was still going to be touch and go for a while.
Yes. And I have actually found the thing in race car engineering on the new price for next year. It's going to be front-engined. And still a V8, it's going to be from a GT3 car.
Oh, so the Prius is not gone.
Just the mid-engined LMP1 engined part of the price is gone, but it will still, but according to race car engineering, it should still be back for next year.
Okay, so I guess we couldn't be complaining anymore. Yay.
It's just not going to sound probably quite as bonkers as a 10,000 odd RPM.
It's still bonkers.
Yes.
It's still bonkers, though. Considering.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sadly, that car is coming to an end because regulations say you can't have a mid-engine car in GT300, so, yeah.
And they're not the only ones that are actually, like, having their final goodbyes, actually. A certain team named Tyson is actually going to be gone after this season.
Well, I mean, technically they're already gone because the race ended. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're gone right now, but yeah, before the race started, this is their
They
final
don't
race.
exist any longer. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think right now they're probably just selling their cars right now as we speak.
The auction is someplace, I think, 2 weeks from now at Fuji, I think. Zuka, either one of them.
Should we set up a GoFundMe page? GTHub's own personal Team Tyson race car.
Only if you can buy that really lovely F40, yeah.
Oh,
What's with you in F40s?
Have you seen that car? It's amazing.
Yeah, I'd rather take the GTR. Thank you very much.
I'd have any one of their cars, but yeah, that F40 would be pretty.
I mean,
GTRs are a dime a dozen. That F40 that races someplace, that's a special car.
GTRs are a dime a dozen. Okay.
The only Ferrari to win in the top class.
Exactly. The only Ferrari to ever win in Super GT.
Overall.
And then not winning after that.
Still winning Super
Don't
GT.
have a car, so yeah.
Anyways, let's stop with arguing. Anything else about qualifying, or we're just gonna keep going?
I just finished qualifying.
Okay, into the race.
So now it's the race proper, yeah.
Oh, the part I still haven't actually got round to watching, like, just about every race other than Okayama.
You didn't see anything over the weekend.
It's called Okayama. Get right.
Is it?
Anyways, keep going.
Yes.
Anyway, the race was started, as I mentioned, for GT500 on pole. Was the number 8 NSX GT for the title sponsor of Autobox and Arda. And that car, of course, being driven by Tomoki Nojiri and Takuya Izawa. And, well, pretty much they won start to finish, really. There was not anyone to really challenge them at all. So there was another dominant victory for them. And that was in the GT500 class. The race was behind them, of course, for the title and also for just a win overall. And that was between the Raybrig NSX and the Keeper Tom's Lexus. And also, rather annoyingly, there was a fly in their ointment in the shape of another Lexus. That being the number 38 Zent Tsurumo car for Yuji Tachikawa and Hiroaki Ishiro, who probably got the team order to come down and get in front of the 100 and slow them down.
Is that the moment where everyone just lost their minds, including you?
Well,
I'm pretty sure that's what.
If you were watching it was a masterclass in blocking. However, it's fine because no one crashed, so no harm, no foul. It was just a bit.
It's still great to see Forza Mad, though. So
still a bit underhanded, I think. Yeah. Considering that that car was clearly slower than the 100, but it was still holding him up. But yeah, I was allowed to do that, so fine in the end. The 100 Raybrig NSX GT of Naoki Yamamoto and Jensen Button was third, and behind it was the championship contending number 1, Keeper Tom's LC500 Ryo Hitakawa and Nick Cassidy. So the battle between them was for the championship positions. The battle was between them for the championship, really, as no one else was in title contention. As the number 8 was barely in, and even with the win, still could not make any ground on them. So it came down to a hard-charging fight with 8 laps to go between the 100 and the 1, and Benson Jutton ended up victorious in the end. So he got his first title in Super GT competition in his first year racing there.
Mhm.
So pretty good.
First championship win since 2009.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And,
It's hard to believe, really, yeah.
Yeah.
And Yamamoto-san, he became the first driver since Richard Lyons in 2004 to do the double of GT 500 and Super Formula, or Formula Nippon, as it was back then when Lyons did it in 2004.
Pretty incredible.
Yes. Although this does, interestingly enough, mean that Yamamoto-san has enough super license points now to say racing Formula One should a seat at a team running Honda Power Units, for example, all of a sudden become available.
Thonk.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who would dunk what?
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff and things and whatnot.
Yes.
Anyways, GT300. Have you guys talked about
that? We are just about to, actually.
It's rather interesting. So remember that 88 that was on pole position?
Sorry, what?
Remember that number 88 Lambo?
Oh yes, yeah, the Lamborghini.
It was actually going decently during the first few laps until something happened. Twice, in fact.
Yeah, twice in the space of 4 laps.
Would you mind saying the cause of the said issue?
The Lamborghini. It had 2 left rear punctures for some reason. So, carrying on the well-known trait of Lamborghinis and Audis, which is tire puncture. So,
well, good job. There's Evo versions of both those cars available for next year.
Well, there's even more tire cutting little flares to.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes, both on the front and the rear. Yes.
Oh, joy of joys! More stuff to happen to them. Excellent.
Well, on the Audi there is. I don't know if the Lamborghini. I haven't seen an Evo.
Basically the same car anyway, let's be honest.
That's true, but I don't know if the aero treatments are the same. Yeah.
But Penta prefers the Lamborghini because grasser.
Having seen the the Audi at Laguna Seca for the California 8 hour, I think I prefer that Audi, man. That Audi looks pretty mean.
Professionalism.
But getting back to the point, the GT300 title was really more about math than on-track performance, because the leaders of the championship coming in were the 55 of Shinichi Takagi and Sean Walkinshaw by a 12-point margin over the number 65 of where'd it go?
It's the Leon, right?
Yeah, the 65 Leon Mercedes of Hiroki Kurosawa and Naoya Gamil. They were behind by 12 coming into the weekend, and the 31 was also in title contention. And further back were the number 0 car, and they were the ones in title contention for the GT300 title. However,
do you forget there were 2 other title contention cars as well, the 96 and the 11?
Well, they were in.
I mean, it was underdog, but they were there.
Much outside contender.
But they're there.
They weren't even in the race, though. I mean, they were, but they weren't challenging for the title.
I think one of the big moments is the 55 having like a lot of battles going around it. I think it actually lost some bodywork during its battles, I guess, with the BRZ.
Yeah, the poor 55 was being bullied by everyone that was around it.
It actually lost, like, I think, a mirror because of it.
Yeah, that side-by-side battle was worse off for that one. Lost its right side mirror, but
and it got worse too because it got passed by everyone, and especially that one Beetle, or not Beetle. Well, I don't think of GT Sport. Porsche.
Porsche Beetle, same thing, innit?
Oh dear, there we go.
Good point. Good point. But
you'll summon Sith.
You'll summon Sith. You'll invoke his wrath. Yeah.
But come on, doesn't he have the fastest car in the world, a Peugeot 3008?
Oh god, now you're doubling down.
Oh, shut up! Come on, man. But anyways, a Porsche D Station GT300 was actually the one that caused the 55 to lose its title chances, despite leading the whole season.
Yeah, the 65 was the second place car, and pretty much did what it had to do, which was win the title or win the race to win the title, and which it did. And as a result, they claimed the race win and the title, despite they only having one win and one podium, which was at Motegi. So,
hey, but it matters.
Very much doing the opposite of Corvette in the IMSA Championship. So
yeah,
still it matters.
Well, that they won when it mattered, so that's all that needed. It was a banner day for Bridgestone as well because they won both classes. So,
oh yeah. Hey. Also, second place and third place of the GT300 class is. For second place is the number 31 Toyota Prius on its final race as a mid-engine car. And then, so yay! Apparently, Prius is still good even on its final days. And third place is the number 0 Good Smile car.
Yeah, you only wanted to mention it because it got a podium.
Hey, I said Prius too. I like both of them. Shut up.
Yes, the Miku. Hatsune Miku Mercedes AMG of Nobutere Taniguchi and Tatsuya Karaoka was third, yes.
So basically, decent day for both classes.
Oh, yes.
I think it's probably like one of the cleaner races of this weekend, to be honest. To be fair. I mean, there have been blocking, yes, but it wasn't like, what happened in F1 or NASCAR.
The 65 Leon Sustos AMG GT3 of Haruki Kurosawa and Naoya Gamo won the race and won the GT300 title. Second was the 31 Toyota Prius APR GT for Koki Saga and Kohei Hirate. And like mentioned, the 0 was third. The championship leaders in the 55 are the BMW M6 GT3 of Shinichi Takagi and Sean Walkinshaw finished a lowly 9th, and as a result, could not salvage enough points to defend their title lead, and lost by 6 points to the 65. Very, very close margin in the end, considering he had 12 coming in. They had 12 coming in, and they lost by half that margin. So. Yeah, very bad day for the BMWs. BMW, I should say, because there's not more than one. The 31 Prius of Saga and Hirate were third, 7 points back. Nobuteru Taniguchi and Tetsuya Karaoka were fourth, 12 points back. And the 11 of Katsuyuki Hiranaka and Hironobu Yasuda was 20 points. So, that was the GT300 title in the end.
I'll tell you what, though. I feel like Super GT seems to go pretty up, apparently. A lot of people are knowing about the series, and hopefully you got more better stuff for next year. Hopefully. And also in the future, because 2020, it's the paying first night race. They're doing really good, to be honest.
Don't blame it on sunshine. Don't blame it on...
The 65 also won the team title over the Autobox Racing Team Aguri 55, and the 31 Prius was third. Mile Racing was fourth, and the Gainer Tanax Nissan GTR was fifth. In the GT 500 title, it was, as mentioned, it was the duo of Benson Jutton and Naoki Yamamoto. And second was the number 1 of Ryo Hirakawa, Nick Cassidy, who ended up 3 points back, having come into the race tied. So that was actually even closer of a margin at the end. And the number 8 did its best to try and steal the title away with their win. So that would be the duo of Tomoki Nojiri and Takuya Izawa, finishing 7 points back in the 8. Fourth was the 38 of Yuji Tachikawa and Hiroaki Ishiura, 19 points back. And sitting alone in 5th and 6th were the 36 duo of Yuhei Sakaguchi and Kazuki Nakajima, who were, of course, split because of Super GT and WC duties for those drivers. And in the team's standings, it was the number 100 Team Kunimitsu Honda NSX triumphing over the number 100, or the number 1 Lexus Team Keeper Tom's entry. Third was the number 8 Autobox Team Aguri entry. Fourth was the 38 Lexus Team Zent Sarumo. And fifth was the second Lexus entry of AU Tom. So it was a very close fought battle all the way through. So
yeah.
And that sets up rather nicely for next season when, as Rob mentioned, there was some shuffling around with the Prius program, which wasn't mentioned earlier, but it's quite significant that that car goes away because the current gen Prius was mid-engine, and next year's rules don't allow for mid-engine cars, so it'll be a front-engine platform Prius, according to Sam Collins, with the, what is it, 5 point?
It's the RCF GT3 engine, which I know is still a V8. I just can't remember the capacity.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a 5-liter V8 something. It's either 4.5 or 5-liter V8, but it's the Lexus GT3 engine. In the front of that one.
I hope it competes still, despite the changes. I mean, with Yo, Forza. Do you think do you think the team will still be better?
The team will be better? What do you mean?
Or would it be still competitive with front engine?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
I mean, the drivers are pretty good.
It's still gonna be front engine, but it's gonna be rear wheel drive, so it's gonna be a proper car.
That's got me thinking though, because is the GT3 engine in the Lexus a stressed member at all?
I don't think it is though.
Ah, damn.
Wow.
Well, for all you know, that might be the case in the Prius that they're making, but I don't know if the GT3 car is a stress member or not.
I was going to say, because if it is, then that could open up some rather interesting packaging options around the front of the car, i.e. effectively bolting the suspension to the side of the engine. And using the engine as a load-bearing structure, which, of course, LMP1 engines inherently are.
Yeah, sadly, the old RV8K engine is no more because parts are rather short of supply. So that had to go. And sadly, APR will no longer have any mid-engine cars after 20 odd years of running Super GT mid-engined entries. So Yeah, an end of a really fun era has come to an end.
It's not a bad run though, right? 20 years.
Oh, it's an extremely good run. Yeah.
But they've basically been running mid-engine cars for the entire duration of my life.
Basically, yes. It's quite something.
It's very interesting, and we got a couple fun cars along with it. So
the Corolla Axio, I think it was.
Before the Prius.
That was a good looking car, to be honest.
I think they might have run the Corolla Axio in the Evangelion RT.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Livery.
Oh, is that
I don't know.
No, I know. I'm not gonna mention it though because that would mean more off topic. But anyways,
I think there might also still be plans for combined Super GT and DTM race at some point next year as well.
Oh,
well, first of all, that's gonna take a while. Okay, we're not gonna.
It's never gonna happen. But,
I mean, the thing is though,
it's going to happen, but it's gonna take a long time.
It's never gonna happen.
It's also I was reading in Race Car Engineering about the power outputs of those GT 500s.
Yeah, 700-ish horsepower.
Between 670 and 700 from a 2-liter inline four and what is still.
If someone was really clever, they would take one of those engines from the GT500 car and stick it in a DPI.
But there is I did read. I think TRD do have a customer spec version along the lines of the GT500 engine. It's just the GT500 engine because of how the engine development is in Super GT. I think even the actual combination of the materials used in some parts of the engine, like the cylinder head, for example, is actually confidential.
Are they confidential? Yeah, I thought so.
So one can dream, but one of those engines on race fuel would be something pretty darn special to witness.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's, very nice indeed, yeah. But I don't see DTM and Super GT racing together at all anytime soon. Just because it's written on paper doesn't mean it's going to happen. Somewhere there's still a calendar floating around with the New Jersey F1 Grand Prix on it.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put that as hot take from Forza.
It's not even that. That's literally, I don't believe it unless it happens.
There's the main issue regarding it is the actual kind of almost ideologies, if you will, of the two series.
That is true because one is like, more, well, I don't know if it's like, okay, GT500 is more like
Super GT is open to
engineering.
DTM
is just marketing, basically.
Yeah, it's I think I kind of consider DTM as basically kind of like NASCAR, but touring car kind of thing.
I mean, touring cars is
calling DTM a touring car is very, very
very generous.
Yeah.
Fine, but they're like spec basically, so they're kind of like what we're having here in the United States with NASCAR, same thing. So,
and then again, you could probably run a DTM or Super GT type car as a NASCAR.
I mean, they're all silhouette cars, but
yeah.
I mean, in fairness, I'd rather watch DTMs around an oval than a NASCAR, but that's just me.
Yeah, to be honest, I would probably agree too.
I was gonna say they could have done it at Lausitzring, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
now the track's owned by Decra.
We had huge rip.
Very much rip. Very sad.
But staying on news, because we've come to the end of our actual topics. There was some breaking news that you and Pigeon wanted to mention.
Yes.
I'll let Pigeon say it then, because he's so excited about it.
Okay. So, finally, Formula E is coming to the BBC. Get in.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
And do me and Forza care?
No,
I think it's a big deal, actually.
It's the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't had.
I still can't watch it. I'm from the United States.
The VPN?
Anyway.
Yeah, VPN, man. Come on.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of time, though.
No, it doesn't. Just install one on your computer, honestly.
I mean, then again, it does say that it's going to be on iPlayer, and I think you can only access that.
I have a
UK.
VPN. Fine.
Is you do need a BBC ID now to access BBC
damn
iPlayer.
it.
Get wrecked.
Just steal a postcode. It'll be
Wait
fine.
a minute, I'll just steal it from you, Rob. Honestly.
I would just steal it all from like Rob. Guess why not?
Well, hello, Harrison. You're new. You've never watched Formula E. Is it worth the watch? Next season is all new car, new engines.
Very nice new car, actually, having seen, and noticeably faster as well, having spent just 2 days in Valencia watching them.
Just don't
Also, here's the thing: one car, you don't have to swap the cars anymore. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the driver swaps have indeed gone, and yeah, like I said, new cars actually slightly less downforce than the previous car as well.
I think that's being a bit generous with your slightly less.
I mean, they're still hard to drive, dude.
It's about what? They lost about what, 100 pounds of downforce or something?
I mean, what? And they still have the tires, right? The Michelin tires.
Yeah, still the all-weather tires,
Road
which
spec
came in.
Michelin tires. Yeah.
Oh god,
So,
they came in so handy in Valencia.
They're all
And I
super
should
tires,
know-
I don't.
I know this
So-
because I was there and I did actually. Oh, I think I've just about dried out from it.
Rob drawing out.
You
Okay,
got
cool.
wheels while you were there. Yeah. That's how wet it was.
Yeah, it was. It just as well. The rain was at its worst on the day when there was no track running scheduled.
Lol.
Yeah, that's a very, very good thing. Because I genuinely don't think they'd have actually been able to run the cars on the rest day on Thursday because
No, that was the first time they ran in the wet, wasn't it?
no, they had the shakedown in New York one year was in proper wet conditions.
No, but I mean it was a proper like actual session.
For the new car, yes.
Ah,
Yeah. The final race last season in New York, they did have a decent bit of wet weather running on the Sunday morning.
it doesn't quite count though.
But it's still something. Also, I'm pretty looking forward for the Formula E season. Only one problem.
You mean other than it opening in I was gonna say Abu Dhabi. No, that would have actually been acceptable if it was in Abu Dhabi. No,
It's
Saudi
fine.
Arabia.
I mean, okay, yeah, Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's another pack of worms I probably hadn't saw. But you know what's another pack of worms I really don't look forward to?
No.
A certain YouTuber.
Oh, can we not?
Who? Who are these?
I'm not even going to just talk of no.
I'm pretty sure some people would already know already.
If
But
they should know, and if they don't, well then they can look it up. I'm not gonna inform them of this pointless press release.
Search out KSI.
No, shut up.
No. And in other Formula E news, Nissan are going to be bringing one of their Formula E cars to Nismo Festival this year.
Oh yeah, they
I'm
did.
gonna
Actually,
take any bets on how far they run. Yeah.
It's a demo run.
Okay.
They're limited to 50 kilometers.
Oh, stupid! The testing rules. Okay, well then they can make about as many laps as they want then, because they'll be going very slowly.
It is set to count as one of their 3 on-track promotional days. So
the question though is, who's driving it?
I mean, who? Well,
It's
first of
not
all,
going to be Sebastian Buemi. I know that for a
And it's-
fact.
well, we still don't know at the moment
That's
who's
why.
going to be
That's
driving
why I
the
ask you.
second
Who's in
car.
the second car?
They still haven't confirmed. There's still been no confirmation yet from the
When's
team.
the first race?
The first race is December the 15th, I think.
So in a
Wait.
month.
Yeah.
I remember
Someone
the
is-
second driver. I think the second driver actually just was supposed to be on the thing, but decided to do something else.
The
because why
second
not?
Alex
driver
Albon.
is supposed to be Alexander Albon, but
He has.
Yeah.
He was in Valencia around the time of pre-season testing, but he was never at the circuit.
Yeah, look in the three letters. Was.
Yeah, well.
Although someone who was at Barcelona. And the news story popped up on Daily Sports Car this evening. He's set to test with Arden in the Formula just after the end of the Formula 2 season.
Right, okay.
Which, ironically, is actually going to be the first time I think he's ever driven an open wheeler.
Jesus.
Well, that's not a bad way to break in, yeah.
Yeah. Strange that he was considered driving for me, and all of a sudden now he's not driving for me because why the fuck
It's not strange at all. It's because Red Bull have stuck their nose where they don't belong again.
Yeah.
And poaching drivers.
Oh, right.
Basically, yeah.
What's
it's
that
basically all that is, because their driver development program is pointless and beyond useless at developing drivers. So they'll pluck everyone else's driver.
What's their record in getting drivers? I think almost everyone sucked. I think
the last good driver they developed was Max Verstappen, and even then they moved him up too soon.
As could be seen from Brazil.
Yes, as could be seen at Brazil. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, so you think it was his fault, Brazil?
It was his fault.
Oh
Not
my
entirely.
god, I am done.
It's not entirely his fault, but if anyone who had any sense wouldn't just close the door when there's a car right beside him.
Ocon should have got a penalty, but it wasn't entirely Ocon's fault or entirely Max's fault.
I don't think a penalty should have been given to anyone at that point. It's just a racing incident. But Ocon got the blame entirely. I'm like, it's not entirely his fault, but okay.
It already has been said anyways. And besides, I think Max Verstappen got a something like, what's that, community service thing?
Yeah.
He got a slap on the wrist.
And it's funny that he
should have been reprimanded and given points on his. Should have been done.
Yeah.
Can we just fire you for FIA, dude? Because you're pretty damn strict, dude.
I mean, it's just
common sense.
They give points out to Roman Grosjean for doing the same thing, but when Max Verstappen does it, he doesn't get any points on his license. Where is the consistency in that?
FIA is not consistent.
We're doing the same exact thing.
People complain about like FIA being not so consistent anyway, so nothing to do.
Well, I don't want to assign blame where it's not warranted, so it's just racing incident. That's all it is.
I have a little bit of IMSA news.
Oh, all right, go on.
Which we didn't get around to covering at the time. Linus Lundqvist is going to be driving for...
here we go, a name I've never heard of.
Yes, because they have the Whelan Challenge, which sees drivers...
Wait, say that name again?
Linus Lundqvist, Swedish driver.
You're sure you're not saying Felix Rosenqvist, but like an anagram?
No. No, his name is Linus Lundqvist.
All right, then.
So, I mean, it's funny because one of the Action Express's drivers in the Whelan engineering car is Felipe Nasser, who back in 2013 actually won the Whelan Sunoco Challenge, and now here he is driving in IMSA full time. So yeah, Lundqvist won British Formula 3 this year, so he's now off to Daytona. And finally, in a segment which I would like to type no one really cares about, it was the Rome 6 Hours and a Mercedes GT3 car won.
Wait, the who?
The 6 Hours of Rome at Vallelunga.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but okay.
It's the XXVIII edition. So I think that's 28? Yeah, that would be 28, yeah. 216 laps and 6 hours later, a Mercedes GT3 car won. And that's all there really is to cover about it.
Right. Actually, since we're news items, there is one actually rather sad news item that we would be remiss to actually not cover, which happened yesterday. And that would be the passing of David Pearson, who was pretty much the second to Richard Petty in all-time wins in NASCAR, and his 3 championships, 1966, 1968, 1969. He passed away yesterday at the age of 83. He was also known, probably by most people, as the Silver Fox. And he raced and won most of his titles for the Wood brothers in the famous number 21. Who you'll get no higher praise than Richard Petty saying he was his toughest competitor. So he was also recently inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2011, and he ran 574 races, starting with the 1960 Daytona 500. And he also actually never remarkably ran a full season throughout his whole career. His most successful season coming in 1973, when he ran 18 races and he won 11 of those. So, yeah, he will sadly be added to the roll of legends that have passed this year. So, we will end on that note for now, with the calendars, actually.
So there was one other news piece I forgot to mention.
Oh, and that would be?
Maximilian Gunter's been confirmed at Dragon Racing for 2018-19.
So the thing we already knew.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Okay. There is racing actually happening this weekend, correct? Wrong.
It's final rounds of the MotoGP season, and also the last ever race for Danny Pedrosa before he retires from full-time riding.
And going to being a driver, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere. There is racing happening other than MotoGP, no?
There's one George
that's
Championship.
Right. The 24 Hours of Coda. That's right. Yeah.
And the Shanghai 6 Hours as well.
Yes. And the NASCAR Champion finale, but who cares about that? Yeah. So there's actual racing. So yes.
We'll know there's actual racing and presumably the viral pile-ups at Macau.
Oh well.
Because Macau.
Yeah, but I purposely didn't mention Macau because Macau. But yeah, that's about all we have to discuss, really. So yeah, thanks for bearing with our bit of an absence for a while. And next week, we'll be back with a news special, I think, covering all the news items and whatnot that have broken. So either that will be IndyCar or NASCAR. I mean, not NASCAR. IndyCar or IMSA. Wrong NASCAR property. But either one of those two will be discussed tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, next Tuesday. And wow, there's just lots of news to discover. So yeah, we will see you then. So hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.